Well, good morning, everyone. I thought today we'd do something a little different, a little more fun than usual. Today, we will play with something truly beautiful and magnificent. We are going to complete a charter renewal online. So let's begin, because this is going to be a lot of fun. But before you get into your online portal, there are a few things to take care of first. For starters, if you need to add someone to your roster, you should turn in your applications to the office. We're so happy to take them. And the benefit of this is twofold. This will save you time in the online system, and it helps the Lake Erie Council continue its streak of membership growth. If they're online, just go on in and approve those applications. And if they're paper, just give member care a ring and ask them to connect you with someone who can meet you out in the world to pick them up and bring them back here. Next, we need to talk about multiples and what they are. Some folks think multiples are so difficult, so complicated, but I assure you, with the right technique, you'll master this in no time. Now, for those who may be new, a multiple is someone who is registered in multiple units, say a Cub Scout pack and a Scouts BSA troop. A common example is the Chartered Organization Representative. Because if the pack and troop share a chartering organization, they also share a chartered org rep, otherwise referred to as a COR. Now, even though this COR is a member of both units, they only have to be paid for by one of those units. And so the COR is considered primary within the unit that is paying for them, and multiple out of the unit that is not. And in order to make this determination, I recommend using a little smidgen of communication, even before opening the online portal. Now, some folks would text, or even Facebook message, while others prefer an email. But I always like a phone call. It's old-fashioned, traditional, and just so effective in bringing out an answer quickly. So these two units, the pack and the troop, they've called each other, and they've confirmed who will pay for the COR and who won't. That empowers both people completing the Recharter online to have the knowledge they need to move forward more efficiently. Now, of course, we're going to need a computer. It's 2022 after all in order to complete this. Now, the last thing we should discuss before opening the Recharter portal is who is completing the Recharter within your unit. Most of the time, this pleasure rests within the capable hands of the committee chair. However, variety is key, just like the different colors of a painting. And not all committee chairs do this for their units. So, please know that only the committee chair, Cub Master, Scoutmaster Advisor Skipper, and the COR automatically have access to this system. Other registered leaders within the unit can be granted access to the system. In order to do this, any of the folks I just mentioned should log into my.scouting.org. Go to the menu, find their unit, and select the Organization Manager option. And then select the Position Manager within that menu. And the Position Manager in this screen is, where did it go now? Let's see here. Just click on that little Cub Scout icon right there, and there it is, Position Manager. What a happy little thing. Here, they can assign someone to the functional role of Key 3 Delegate. So I'm just going to click on that functional role option there, and what do you know, the Key 3 Delegate. Just select a registered leader from the drop-down menu here in order to add somebody. So I'm going to click Add, and then it says Select a member to this position. So I'm going to click the drop-down here, and I can add anyone to this list from the drop-down, in addition to Andrew, who's already listed there. And so I've done that. Alakazam. Isn't that just neat-o? Now that person who I've just added is going to have access to the system starting tomorrow. Now, okay, everyone who should be on the roster has paid applications, either approved online or delivered to the Unit Service Center, and we know who is responsible for completing the Recharter process, and we know who the multiples are within our unit, who we won't be paying for, but someone else will. Now, we are ready to open the Recharter portal. Uh-oh, this is exciting. Let's get crazy. So we start by entering www.advancements.scouting.org. And to get into this, you'll use the same login information as your my.scouting.org and Scout Book login. Isn't that so easy? I just love it. There's no code to have to worry about. Now, in order to ensure the unit you're rechartering for is reflected in the system, you're going to go to this button here in the top right of the page, and yes, today we're doing pack 3174, and that's the unit I'm selecting here, and now we can see it, and I'm going to skip this tour for now. Okay, so now that we're here in pack 3174, you know what, let me just expand this a little bit here, and in the bottom left, you see this button called Recharter. Oh yes, that's what we're looking for. We're going to recharter today. And the first thing you'll see is this question of the term of the recharter, and you want to leave this at 12 months. It is beautiful just the way it is. No need to touch it. We're just going to leave it right there on our screen. We're going to click Save and move on to the next piece. Now next, we're going to go through our roster and just make sure that everyone is here. And so when I scroll down, look at all of my pack people. This lists out everybody who's on the roster. I see the adult members here, and then as I keep going down, it'll switch to youth. So on page 2, it goes from adults, and now I see youth on the roster. Okay, so there's a few folks on here that are gonna have to be removed from the system. And so let me start by selecting the name, or the bar here I should say, of some folks who need to be removed. So I've got this person selected. And although it really pains me to remove them, I hope they'll be back soon. We will miss them. It's the way it has to be. And so when I go up here, that was the Manage Members bar, by the way. I'm going to go up there, and I'm going to click Remove from Recharter. And then it'll ask me to confirm that I want to remove this person, and I'll say yes. It is sad, but we need to remove them. Bye-bye. And now, this is looking pretty good. There's one other person. Yep, there we go. And I need to remove this person as well, sadly. Bye-bye. All right. Yeah, that's looking really good. So now, this page looks correct for the total people that should be present in our pack. That's exciting stuff. So in order to add somebody new, now, and of course this should already have been done, I understand. I should have contacted member care a little while ago, but life was tough. I have the paper application. I just haven't been able to get it downtown yet, and that is okay. So we're going to go to Manage Members in that case and add new member. Now, I've got a brand new person, and that means I need their paper application, and I'm just going to enter their information here. And Drew is an adult, so I'm going to add his information accordingly. Just ask for an email there, and any possible adult position to list him as is listed in this drop down. And so I'm going to select the right one for him. And because he's taken youth protection training, and I have that on a separate form, his youth protection training certificate, that means I also have his BSA ID number, which I've listed right there, and his date of birth. It's important here. Got that entered into the system. And the last thing I do is actually find his paper application. I'm going to click Add Paper Application, and there it is, and add the member. And sometimes, wow, isn't that amazing how sometimes, folks, we find Just the happiest little accidents in this system. That's okay. That's right. He's not Drew. He's Drew to me, but he's Andrew to this online system here. And that is okay. So, just as a reminder for that, everybody, if you're adding an adult member to this system, you must make sure that their background check form and youth protection training certificate are added in with their name. And actually, there's a way to do that with, because we've added their application for Andrew here and his new member, but I have not added his YPT certificate or his background check yet. So I'm going to have already created a zip file of those two things. I'm going to upload that zip file right here. See, I'm going to upload the zip file, and there's the zip file of the two of those things added right there, and there he is, set and ready to go. Awesome. So I've added my new member here, as I should have, and I've also taken care of any other new members that I've needed to. Of course, there were some folks who had to be removed from the charter, and I've taken care of that as well. So now, now, folks, this is where it's going to get fun, because we are going to begin marking some multiples. Now remember, multiples are people that exist in your unit, but that your unit does not pay for. And so, let's begin making a happy little multiple, shall we? Oh, I don't want Kelly. I want Andrew on this list here. And where did he go? Ah, yes. So I'm going to select Andrew's name and go to Mark as Multiple. Now he, I know, is also a member of this council because he is also in troop, I'm sorry, not in troop, in pack, there we go. Give that a second there. And now every pack in the Lake Erie Council is available and at my fingertips. And so I could type in 268. Ah, there it is, because I know he's in pack 268 as well. And so remember, pack 268 is the one that is paying for Drew. I'm just noting that here in the system. So I'm going to mark him as a multiple. I know this, of course, because I've called pack 268, and I am familiar with the fact that he should be a multiple. And there you go. This little icon suggests that he is new. This shows that I've added those other documents to his profile here. And this double square box with the plus sign, that indicates that he is a multiple. Look at how easy that was. Just the happiest little multiple you could add into this system. Fun stuff. Fascinating. Just remember, everybody, if multiples confuse you, boil it down to this right here. You're smart, you're kind, and you can do it. You can add a multiple to this recharter. You've talked about it beforehand. That information, just like you saw, it is a breeze to fill in. Now from here I might find that someone's position needs changed. My oh my, this is just fascinating stuff. What a system. And so the first thing I'm going to do, if I see a position that needs changed, is go down to this little arrow in the bottom left of the screen. And I'm just going to click on that arrow. And whoa, little things got a little wider in the screen here. Now I can scroll to the right. So I can see, I actually can change this person's position as well. They're still an adult, but they're not a scout or reserve. They're actually going to be my pack trainer. And look at how easy that is. Just click update, and then he's listed as the pack trainer now. Fun stuff. Oh, this is new and exciting. It seems we're experiencing some temporary issues with our servers. Would you like to switch to offline mode and synchronize your changes later? Sure would. That would be just fine. And so in this offline mode, I'm going to make the changes and then it'll ask me to refresh and it'll send all those changes at once instead of uploading this in live time. You're likely to experience some of these notices as more and more people get onto the Recharter system across the country, and that's a-okay. Everybody's got to be able to renew their units, and that's a good thing. So, while you do have the power to complete a Recharter, it's important to know that there are rules. Just like a canvas is only so big for a picture, there's also a basic need for each unit's leadership. So in every unit there is an IH, otherwise known as an institution head or executive officer. And there's also a COR. You also need a committee chair and 2 members of committee. Depending on the unit, there's also a cub master, a scout master, or an advisor. And in a pack, you need a den leader as well. This is the minimum for each unit. Now I know all of you wear so very many hats to make scouting happen, and that's great. But in this system, you only get recognized for one. I know it's not fair, but it's just like life. The only person who can wear more than one hat is the COR, and the COR can be listed as the committee chair or a committee member. Otherwise, everyone can only be listed as one thing in the system. Hopefully this helps you as we continue to make this beautiful Recharter happen. And now here is just the coolest little feature about the Recharter. If I go to Manage Members, I can select Invite New Member. And if I select them as an adult or a youth, it doesn't matter. This little tool is especially useful for you Cub Scout packs out there who might have sign-in sheets from previous join nights and folks who didn't sign up for your pack because of whatever reason. Maybe it was the wrong time for them, but now is a good time and they just need a gentle little nudge in the right direction. And that's what we're here to provide. So you just type in their email address, the parent's name, the youth's name, and then you click invite. It's as simple as that. And when you click invite, it sends them an email inviting them to join and apply online. Now, if they apply online and it's accepted by one of your leaders, then their application will automatically show up in the Recharter Portal. And that is so long as you refresh the roster. And refreshing, it is just so refreshing. It keeps things fresh in your mind, fresh on the screen. So refresh all the time, folks. Become refreshed by refreshing and see the latest changes to your roster right here, right now. Okay, so you know how to refresh, and we've invited some folks, and now that we're extra calm, we're gonna take a look and make sure that all of our adults have turned in their youth protection training, that it's up to date, and that their background check authorization is also up to date. And by looking through here now, in this Recharter, there's all green, which is good. If there was a red exclamation mark, that would indicate that somebody would have to take YPT still, or turn in their background check form. Now, you have a couple options in the case where somebody has to take youth protection training. First, it's best to reach out to folks and say, hey, listen, I know it's super busy right now, but you need to renew your youth protection training in order for us to recharter. And if the communication doesn't go quite according to plan, and they're not quite able to take that youth protection training in time, well, then you can just remove them from the roster, assuming, of course, that you've met those minimum leader requirements that we talked about earlier in the process. Also, just because you've clicked remove someone, that doesn't mean they're gone forever. There's no way to make a mistake in this portal, folks, just a happy little accident. So if I go up to above the Manage Members sign, there's Pack Roster, and then I can go to Removed Members. Now, if I removed somebody that I shouldn't have, that's okay. I can just select their name, and then I can hit Add to Recharter right here once they're selected, and it will re-add them to the list. Look at that. Easy and stress-free. I love it. Now, some folks may also want Scout Life magazine, and you can turn that on by selecting this little toggle right next to their name. And boom, would you look at that? The people I wanted to add Scout Life magazine to, I'm doing it as we speak. Kelly needed it, as did myself, and that was all. I need to find myself. Ah, there we go. I'll tell you, finding yourself in the Recharter system can sometimes feel like finding yourself in real life. But just remember, you're strong, you're confident, and you're able to do this just as well as any old expert in the Recharter field. Now, some of you may still have questions. For example, at the troop level, you may be wondering, I've got a scout who's going to turn 18 on or before December 31st, but after I turn in this Recharter. So what should I do? Oh well, I thank you for asking that, Mr. Troop Person. Here's exactly what to do. Don't fret. So you're going to remove them as a youth member on the roster. And so you select their name, which I've done here, right? And then I scroll up to Manage Members, and I remove from Recharter. And that confirms it, and I say, yes, I'd like to remove, please. Thank you. Now, sometimes that might not work immediately because you're working in the offline mode, and that's okay. We'll just go down and find our youth to remove again. There we go. I think some of you may have caught that little error that came up, and that's okay. Like I said, we were in offline mode, so I just refreshed, and now we're back. And I'm going to try to remove this youth again. Alrighty, success. That's what we're looking for, is some success. So I've removed that member, that youth member, who's going to turn 18. And now I'm going to add a new member with a new paper application to this process. And I'll type in the name and email of this person just as before, but I'm going to select adult. And then I'm going to select their position and put in their member ID, which should be the same as the one they've always had, but of course their member ID listed here has to be the same one that's listed on their Youth Protection Certificate, which we've already shown you how to add in that zip file. I'll get there in one moment. I also want to talk about what to do in this position where you have someone who just turned 18 and you're selecting their position within the unit. Some folks would say, well, you should make them an assistant scoutmaster because that is something they'll do within the troop. But I say, don't do that. Do Unit College Scouter Reserve. And here's why. An assistant scoutmaster needs to be position trained in order to be considered trained in your troop. If this person who just turned 18 is going to be very active and be a big part of the troop, then that is okay. But if they just want to remain on as someone who might be able to be an adult on camp outings a time or two, that's okay too. And the Unit College Scouter Reserve only requires youth protection training in order to be position trained. So it's one and done for them. That's it. I would say in most circumstances that I have seen, this is the preferred position to go with. But you can select Assistant Scoutmaster if they're actually going to be active and involved as one of the Scoutmasters. Also, if you're in a venturing crew, you may have venturing participants who are older than 18 who are also registered as adults in the troop. Now, how will that work? Simply, the venturer will be paid through the venturing crew, and they will be a multiple within the troop. Additionally, If you're a venturing crew who's rechartering, you may have a lot of multiples in your crew, and that is okay. But you want to make sure at least 2 youth or participants over 18, but not yet 21, are registered as primary with the crew. And friends, that opens up a common question. My unit does not have a lot of scouts in it. Can we still recharter? And why, of course. Units need 5 youths total to recharter without error. Units with less than 5 youths can renew with special permission granted by our Scout Executive, Mark Ryan. So if that applies to you, complete the recharter as normal, and then give member care a call to connect with a member of the service team to talk about your specific recharter situation. Okay, a couple of last things to consider while we're in this portal. Now, some of the folks in your unit might be listed as $0, like Mark and Kelly listed here. Now, that'll happen for a few reasons. One, if they're a multiple, they're not paid here, they're paid somewhere else, of course. It could also happen if they applied to, if they paid their membership dues in 2022 and in 2023. Of course, they're considered prepaid, and so they're not going to add to the total here. The third reason they might be listed as $0 is because their position does not have to be paid for. For example, Kelly is a Tiger adult. She's the Tiger adult partner for her child in the pack. And Mark Ryan is listed as the executive officer of this pack as well. Both of those positions are unpaid, and that's why they're listed as $0 here, and that's good. Okay, here we are, folks. I've done what I can. Everything looks as good as I can get it. So, I am going to click Validate Recharter and Pay. Oh, this is a big deal. Let's see how this goes. So this is checking to see if I have done a good job. Uh-oh. So I've received an error here that leaders do not have current YPT. And that happened because this person's YPT either expired before I opened this portal or will expire before December 31st. And I cannot submit it. I cannot proceed to payment even while this is the case. So remember, I either have to give this guy a call and say, hey, you need to take it now. And if he ignores me or doesn't do it, then I have to remove him, sadly. Which is what I'm going to do in this particular case right here. He has been removed. Success. All right, now let's give this another try. And this says okay. Recharter validation successful. You'll notice I have no warnings in yellow or errors in red. Now, yellow warnings allow you to continue to proceed to payment, but it's important to note that until these warnings are addressed by a member of the Lake Erie Council, it is not actually done. These errors in red are going to stop you from being able to continue to submit the recharter. And so it's important to take a note of these as well and fix those before you can submit the charter. So now I'm going to proceed to payment. Of course, it shares this disclaimer, which I'm going to click OK on. Alrighty, so next, you'll get to see the payment options. And boy, do we have options. Now this is what I recommend. Pay at council with a paper check. Why, you ask? Well, happy little accidents become far, far less happy when you pay online and submit the charter, because there is nothing that we can do at the council level to assuage those accidents once it's paid online. But if we found that something is wrong, you can still call member care, or member care can still see your charter and fix it before it's too late. Also, paying online is more expensive. Take a look at this. I selected Pay at Council, and this administrative fee is $0. This Recharter is expensive, by the way. It takes a lot of money to be able to do. So if you were to select the online check option, the administrative fee becomes $1, which is pretty small. That's fair. But know that if you select this, there will be micro deposits entered into your PAX or Troops or Crews account. And your account, it is on you as the person who filled out this Recharter portal to confirm the amount entered into the account. These micro deposits must be confirmed before the Recharter can be processed and money can be removed from the account. You can do this online through your email, because your email will receive some messages regarding the micro deposits and asking for their confirmation. Now, if I select credit card up here, look at that administrative fee. Holy smokes, $80.31. That's because to pay the credit card option, there's a credit card processing fee of 3%. I'm not saying you can't pay it, but by selecting Pay at Council with a paper check, you can avoid all these fees and make your Recharter amount the smallest possible. And that's a swinging deal for everybody. Okay, so I'm going to select Pay at Council, and that means we are going to pay and post the renewal. This is the biggest step, because this confirms that we are done with all the information that we've entered into this portal. That means we are sure that it's right, we have the money to pay, and we're ready to pay. Let's do it. Let's do it again. Uh-oh, I need to fill out my billing information. Silly me. No matter what your payment method is, you still need to enter some basic information about yourself so that we know who to follow up with in case there's any question about submitting that payment in. So I've put my name in there, and it asks, are you sure you want to pay at the council? Once confirmed, your Recharter will be submitted and you cannot reopen it. I'm going to say okay. And here we wait, the little spinny wheel spinning away. Wonderful! This says that some documents were sent via email and that any or all of us can sign them. And that will complete the process. So I'm going to click OK. And that takes me out of the Recharter. So here's the deal. Look in your email for an email from Adobe at adobesign.com. Now the COR must be the one to sign this. There will be an email sent to multiple leaders in the unit, but it is not considered signed until the COR affixes their electronic signature to this Recharter.
Once that is done, then there's only one thing left to do with this beautiful creation. Print the front page of your completed and signed charter with the fee explanation on it, and bring that with you or send it in to the council office with your charter payment. And with that, now you're finished. What a work of art. A last couple of notes. The deadline for this is December 10th. Completing all these steps after the 10th risks you won't have the ability to get any help to complete it at all, because the council staff is off the week of Thanksgiving as well as Christmas. It also eliminates your entry into the potential Pinewood Derby car giveaway. Hopefully that makes it easy. Now for those of you who appreciate a JTE ribbon for your unit, I have sad news. National no longer provides ribbons to gold, silver, or bronze units anymore, which is a real shame. However, you can still submit your JTE score to Member Care, and they will be able to log it and
we'll be able to congratulate you on a job well done in your scouting journey regardless of that ribbon. So again, if you have a JTE scorecard to share, you can just email that over to member care. Well, now we have a beautiful, appealing, and captivating work of art in front of us. A completed, on-time charter turned in. This is truly wonderful.
Thank you for joining me on this fun journey. Remember, if you're doing something that doesn't make you happy, you're doing the wrong thing. And seeing a big list of scouts on their trail to Eagle and leaders helping them along the way, well, that's what makes me the happiest of all. We'll see you next time. Take care.